Gentlemen, the darkest hour was last night. I was looking at all dark thoughts on crypto. Is it going to be the final point and the final low? Do we need to flippening? We need an answer from crypto. And for me today, crypto is answered. So welcome. It is the Crypto Sniper. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button right now. Likes are appreciated. It helps our stream. We put no adverts in the channel. Hit the like button. Give us a share. We appreciate that. Let others see it so that you can share the knowledge and the love. It's totally free of charge. We give you some of our best stuff. Not everything. You need to be in the community for that. Click a link below to book a call if you want to do that. Let's talk about the cavalry that I think is coming around the corner over the hill to save the crypto doldrums of summer. So we've been waiting for a sign that the 30K level would be supported again, and you keep on tapping. It looks to many, wow, so many people have turned bearish. I had a comment on Twitter saying, oh, you're still bull. Are you still bull? Like you're the last man standing. Yes, we still are. We are in an accumulate mode. Our suggestion is that the 30K target that you see in the purple line, if we take a look at the chart, let's go straight up, has been a net accumulation zone. That's right. So let's draw. Grab my epic pen. It's accumulation zone. You will see those orange wicks that are being circulated. Ducks down, grabs a beer from the fridge underneath there. You'll also see a couple of blue circles that are showing the second tier of support. This has set up for us what we consider to be a falling wedge, and that this is Bitcoin hammering its bearishness out. Note the red dashed line. Let's draw it. Let's draw some stuff. The red dashed line over here that has been aggressive to the downside. There. You've been squeezed from the top. We call that a capping descending grind line. And the support areas have been here, coming marginally lower lows. That is your final last low so far. And we think it could be your end game final low. And you've come down here in a much lower volatility sense. Little structures all the way down. We were watching them. We could see more downside was coming inside this range. Grind lines there. And you could see bleeding. The red and the gray line, the red and the gray are your basing, descending grind line and your capping descending grind line that make up the structure of a falling wedge. They are subparticles. We're the only technical analysts that break everything down to their single atom. There's a splitter in there that divides it in half. As you can see, we've been in the top half selling off here, and then a final spill into the low, and now you have a snapback. You have a snapback. It's snapback time. Just a big reminder, remember over here to get into stable token. Good call. The target we gave you, 30K, exactly made. These technical analysis works, guys. We get so many people that just think, it's kind of a retrospective thing. These things were called on this channel before. Time to get into stable coin. The falling wedge breakout, the bounce at this level and the right shoulder with another wedge-like structure was very nervy. Very nervy indeed. That is behind us now. Now we're focusing on this. Let's drop a time frame slightly and go into it. Bitcoin determines direction, always. It's your direction determinant, by the way. Also, while I'm at it, I will also show you the COT signal that you got use of. When on the weekly time frame, you should look at the COT generally. It's a macro indicator because you get one data point once a week on Fridays. So you should be able to pick it up from Mondays, the new data. And we highlighted to you that this started to represent accumulation zone when you sold off into that targeted low. You didn't get, that's the differential, the thick blue line. It's the difference between the red and the green line. You haven't got very far away. You're still at 11. You're still at 11 on your difference line. When you get to highs and close out tops, you're at 47.5 going on 50. We are very close and low to our key levels of 5. It doesn't take a big move. Buyers to come up a little bit, sellers to come off a little bit by 3 or 4 points each. And next thing you know, you're back at 5. This is another COT signal buy would be accumulated. The first one came early during this week of this low. Why? Because you spilled so fast. So it out the blocks. but it is indicated that this should be treated as an accumulation point. So that's how we've done it, and that's what we're referring to. Those of you who want the COT signal, go and grab it under the Crypto Sniper on TradingView. Look under scripts, and then go and add. It's no charge, no free, no email address, nothing. Have it on us. I'll give to all crypto communities. And we've only had one signal this year. Up until now, you've had 4 signals since when we were happy with the futures data having settled down. 4 signals max in a year. So if you're just an investor, hodl type guy, and you just want to put on once, take off once, and put on once again and take off once in an entire year, one decision a quarter type thing, that's your tool. It's going to help you amazingly. So what's happening right now? Well, we were watching this and it was getting super low volatility. So let's take this off as well, because you've been selling off, grinding lower, and the volatility is being killed. That is the first sign of recovery, reducing volatility. That's not to say you can't go down and fall down on low volatility. You can, it's just slightly less common. It's slightly less common. You can see from when we spilled into the lows, very high vol here as a result of that price action. And then you can see it. That is like a descending triangle across here, hitting very low levels twice that we've indicated to you. In this process of squeezy, Japanesey, final little dip, provoking the 30, traded below 30, provoking the 30 dip squad, and the buying was there, and you're snapping back out. Now, listen, 2 candles does not a summer or a buoyant spring make. You know, they're 2 swallows only, these 2 green candles, but they're fairly impulsive, and they're showing again the rejection here. 2 little hammers in there. We can make it a bit bigger. Let's make it a bit bigger so everyone can see nicely. Remember, Bitcoin determines the direction for the entire market. You might be here because of Matic or Ethereum or something else. The reason why you look at this market is it's your God market for direction of all of crypto. It's going to be very hard, even for Ethereum, to absolutely, entirely and independently, short of incredible news of its own, which a couple of tokens have had and been slightly counter-cyclical for a short while, but they usually involve very light liquidity, high staking, etc. Going on. So if we have a little look at that, nice little hammer, followed by a second little hammer, and then a bump up, and you're back above that target level. That's an example of a key level of significance that came from your head and shoulders, that is still giving you value here and is showing actually there was no follow through to the sell-off so far. Can still be wrong. We will cover how do we be wrong. And how do we be wrong? Where's your level? You now have a level. Many people are saying, we always like to state, you have to have a price point at which you will accept that your hypothesis no longer holds. We are not clairvoyant, we are not gurus, we have a methodology. And that level is now determined right there on the low of that wick. If we were to turn around and run that, that would be a pretty adverse event. It could still theoretically be slightly possible that you revisit and do an up and over, and then just do a small dip and then you go. It's not impossible, but it wouldn't be comfortable, and I wouldn't suggest holding. You could then be in a man peas off the roof lower. That's how you would be wrong. But I think the support there and the support there is shown, and again, you've been supported, and I'm encouraged by the degree of momentum moving to the upside. So let's talk about a couple of others. I want to talk about the macro other alt that I think is going to do rather well. It's not very exciting. It's the major alt. It's Ethereum. Did a bit of a stream covering it all on Twitter, and I'm going to cover it with you now. We'll come back to that chart. It is Ethereum. Let me know if you can all see that okay. So this is static, and I did a draw on this and annotated this. And we've had our 3 impulses. So we've been waiting, inside our community, been waiting for the 3rd impulse to complete. And we went up and over. We had to be careful that it might just run and break. It wasn't going to have much of a down leg, like that was just a down leg. But we personally felt it could come over and back down. We're still early in summer. We think the doldrums to frustrate and kill retail traders. I mean, I was staying up late last night and I'm only in blue pot, no leverage trades. And I'm going, man, it just keeps going on and on, bleeding down. It's got to provoke a reaction soon. Thankfully, it's come today. But we all reach the end of our tether where it's hard to adhere to a process. Very glad to so far. And I think we are seeing some signs of life now. Some signs of life. Ethereum is actually up more since I drew this. But this is a falling wedge for me. And that was your upside HVF. And that's your gold-plated funnel that has supported once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and now you're up. We'll look at the live chart in a second. I just wanted you to see the annotations. Plus 3 impulses to a move. And then you break up with the expectation that you will break to the upside. That's our flight path there. Everyone is bear. The sentiment, oh my God. The sentiment, people are slitting their wrists and hanging themselves. That's what gives me encouragement out there. Let's just have a look at it live on Ethereum and get the latest view. Everybody's so miserable. Everybody's so miserable. Sentiment indicator, where is he? Oh my God. 10. Under 25 is extreme fear. You've gone from 23, 21, 19, 10. That capping, descending grind line, distributing across the top. That activity of releasing Ethereum. Who knows? Some of it might be the Pulse Chain fork with guys that have sacrificed the better part of 500,000, or 500 million, in fact, in total, I think has been sacked. Most of it is Ethereum, all being distributed. That's a lot of selling to be absorbed. Extreme fear. People are always late. This will be extreme greed in maybe a month's time, and it will be at 3,000 higher. The people who won't buy here, sub $2,000, are the people storming in to buy at 3,300 in the hope of 5, 6, 7, and 10 grand. That I can tell you. People are always late. Retail traders are always late. You've got to be bold. You've got to be prepared to tap. That is a good little impulsive move. The volatility again coming down, down, down. Let's show you that. Let's get the chart holy in there. Down, down, down over here. Look at the vol. Wow, you had a spiller. It was an absolute thriller all the way up top from around about 4,400. And you ended up, next thing you knew, at 1,700. Golden, absolutely golden funnel support. Again here. I was talking about it in the where I'd highlighted it. This is on the live chart. Support. This is an HVF. No one else has these meaningless lines, Waza, on this chart. Nobody else has these meaningless lines. 1, 2, 3, 4. Support. Yes, sir. 17.3, and you're getting support. 17.3K, 17.3K, 1.73K, 1.73K, and now you are bouncing off it. By the way, this is not for the faint of heart. This is not a recommendation. I am already in, and I will be doing more. That ETH bull that traded 40,000, you can have it at $400. It got up to 40,000. When this was 4,000. Imagine that. Anyone wants a 10,000x? Don't do it. You're probably not equipped to cope. It's highly volatile. It's kind of dangerous. And you need to know when to get out. And you might get 5x when it's going up in the trend, and you'll get 5x back down. I'm just saying. Something that was 40K is down at 400. And now, if it goes back up to the 4K, if it goes to 10K, I daren't even think. Because you're adding to a winning position. If it is high momentum to the upside, if it's choppy, you can go up and not make the same gain. So be careful of those tokens. I just mention it because I kind of like a punt. That is a falling wedge. 3 impulses here. We covered it. This is your vol coming down on the Ethereum. Right down and slowly stirring up. And this is you getting support and being fairly impulsive. You're at 1940s when you're at 1700s recently. What was the low that the support was at? I think it was below 1730. If we just go to that candle and we pick up the low there, 1718, now trading 1943. It's decent. It's decent already. And it's not yet the breakout. If it becomes the breakout we're suggesting it could, it relies on Bitcoin to play the game. We've already made a case for a falling wedge on Bitcoin. You've seen the chart. If Bitcoin holds the line and keeps recovering, and everybody about the grayscale unlocks and all the reasons why and FUD. That kind of FUD is still out there, and now you're going up. That's the beginning of bottoming, when you go up on bad news. We've gone down on bad news for an extended period. We went down on good news that showed that we were overcooked. We continued to go down on further bad news. Guess what? Now we're going up on bad news. That is often the case of a beginning of a bottom. Nobody is thinking. Nobody is ready. Retail has never been more scared or hurt. 10 is one of the lowest readings I've seen live in ages. I don't know when last we were 10. If you're under 25, you're in extreme fear. They're like extreme fear. That is a great sign because they are the sheep. Retail is the sheep. You have to watch it, I'm afraid. We all been retail. We all are retail. But you got to not be that sheep retail. Don't be that sheep retail. You got to be bold at times like these. I am going to buy more of the 3x bull token, and I will put on positions in Ethereum, and I've been holding Blue Pot 100% Ethereum throughout this down leg because I'm expecting it to do well. What about SBTC, you might ask? Aha. Let's have a look at that. This was a prepared chart I put out to premium, and then I later shared as well open on Twitter. This was your neckline, 2.5 year inverted head and shoulder, 4% of a Bitcoin, 0.04 Ethereum BTC, 4%. We got you long at 2.5 in the initial run, and you ran up to the 4%. You even went a bit beyond, and then you came back down on a head and shoulders. We called that head and shoulders. We called the upside HVF. We came down and we came down. Then you had 4 successive in a row HVFs. The first one to get you up to the neckline, the second one to break it, the third one to continue the process, and the fourth and final one to take you through the target. That gave you a little bit more on the target. Then you had overperformance, boom, boom, bosh, and you should have got out on a head and shoulder. That, we even said at the time, will be the end of the bull market. I said here on YouTube to you, all the vids are still there. We don't take down the bad calls. We make tons of bad calls. We are too early. We are wrong. We do it all. We do it all. This is not an aggrandization. We are not a guru. We do not have a 100% record. I wouldn't want one. I am quite happy with actually a below 50% record on high R strategy. And that you should all be very, very happy with. This gave you a succession of continuation where you were right 4 times in a row. You were trading for the macro target. You got a little booster. You should have closed. The FBTC top was the end because it's the top for the alts performance against Bitcoin. It was the beginning of some Bitcoin dominance, and it was the beginning of sell-offs where the higher beta volatility, higher alts sold off more than Bitcoin. That literally was your top. You can see it May between the 10th and the 17th for Bitcoin. We can have a look at it on the Bitcoin. Mark my words, this is your indicators for topping out. Alt performances relative to Bitcoin. Let's have a look. May, when was May 10th and 17th? May 10th. Top of right shoulder. Beginning of the major smackdown. Last chance to sell out. Not at the high, but at the 59s that you would have got. And as a result, you would have done pretty damn well as a result of that. Let's have a look at this. Cycles. Go watch my Odyssey Reset Sniper with my frustration with people that talk about the fourth turning and cycles. Cycles exist? Yes, they do. Cycles extend, they change. Different dominances of different cycles that exist within others often make them very difficult to trade. You need a multitude of cycles. You don't know which ones will be dominant. They can be dynamic, they expand, they contract. It's kind of tough. There's some cycles that are pretty good. I gave one on our bullion, ST bullion. How? On precious metals. If you're not following the Market Sniper, go subscribe, hit the like, smash it, go watch it. How if you just bought the close of the American session on silver and sold the open, you would make an absolute huge amount that over 50 years at an index level of 100, you would be at 10,000. And that if you did the exact opposite, you bought the open and sold the close, your 100 would have gone down to 10. You would have lost 90% trading the exact same instrument on the other half of the 24-hour time frame. How about that? Talk about an interesting cycle that just keeps on keeping on. Yes, it does. And it should have you thinking about manipulation coming out of the New York side. So cycles are valuable, but they aren't always as plain and as daylight as what I've just described. Anyway, so this is our cycle draw chart. This is it on Bitcoin. I just wanted to highlight with the chosen highs of the cycle, usually at relative highs. Remember also, this was all during a consolidation that is 2.5 years long. That was leading to a breakout at the 10K level. Your first cup gold nugget break. So it was all part of that. That squeezy. Also localized highs for a short bit, but you were already in breakout. From here till there was the big bull run. So the lows could be ignored because you're in such a strong market, it only went up. But generally in the cycles, you want to be a buyer near the lows. Now the lows are kind of accurate. They're not perfect. This was a slow downhill. So the lows came in a bit early here. Calls there. This was an exceptionally fast downhill, the COVID. So the lows came in a touch late. But the relative highs were very well called, particularly here on the rising wedge that we got the macro that gave you your left shoulder and your complex head with 2 loops, marginally higher high, 64K. That gave you it. From there, you needed to be getting out. We are now in the low end of the cycle. We have just made the beginning of the move off the lows. Round about here. Looks like November. Just before the beginning of November, you will be in a better place with your crypto trading. I'm here to give you good news when you're down, when you're sitting cowering in fear in the corner, making pee-pee in your pants and waiting another flogging from Mr. Market, crypto market, who's been beating you up all day and you're all cowed. I'm here to give you confidence and make you a bit happier and to say to you that you'll be in a better place end of October on your cryptos as this starts to hit high. You will be in a better place. I can't tell you what that blue line will have done by then, but I suspect potentially a new high, quite substantially so maybe. Who knows? We'll see later. We'll see what patterns we get. But the recovery should be happening. The recovery should be closing to a peak, and you might want to start coming back if the cycle is still indicating us. Recognize this is dynamic. It will update as you move closer to the event. So it could extend highs for longer. So what's the answer today is not the answer in 6 weeks' time. But overall, you should have been a net accumulator during this period. You're at the lows during this period, which is pretty much what our Bitcoin cot said over here when you ran 30,000 on the low there. And now you should be in an accumulate. You will get probably one slight hiccup as you normally do. We're talking about a wedge. What happens on a wedge? You break out and you have a bit of a return move. I guess that'll be your return move. And then you move on and on and on. And then you're making higher highs, but slowing down in momentum, like you did on that indicator there in the pink as well. Marginally higher highs. That's the beginning of your warnings. That's the beginning of your warnings that you need to get distributed. You want to get out of your 20x leverage. You certainly want to have closed your leverage token longs if you took any. And you want to start backing into blue pot only instead of orange pot with moderate leverage, and certainly out of hot pot. Actually, you want to start thinking about smaller time frame, medium time frame setups for even a possible hot pot. People should be aggressive when everyone's scared and should be retreating as what you expected starts to transpire. You got to be aggressive now. Most people don't have the pot to do it because they got devastated. Be aggressive now. There could be hot pot trades actually, and we'll be discussing that in our community early early, because the best money is in an oversold market with everyone chicken shared and peeing in their pants, cowering in the corner, because all of those people have to get out, get confident again, get refunded and re-enter the market, because that's what they're designed to do, and that's how they will end up responding. And you'll be selling to them higher up. You'll be distributing as you're winding back some of that leverage, taxing down from your hot pot into your orange pot. And then as it starts to get a bit toppy and most of the people are back in the game and everyone's putting laser eyes back onto their Twitter profiles, and NFTs all over the world are now the biggest thing. They're changing the world, and everyone should be spending 10 million and launching their own branding token. That's when you start to look for the exit, and you get back into stablecoin, as we warned, on that right shoulder of the head with the many necklines. So those are my thoughts. You are here. You are here right there in the cycle, and the price is just beginning that. That's where you are in my worldview. Leave the bears behind. Let them be bold, be early. The break is coming. But understand, if you oversize, if you over leverage, just because I say be aggressive with an understanding of losses, money management, a stop, an entry, which is tight, where you know the amount you will lose if it turns. Wait for a break of a key element. Wait for a structure if you want to go hot pot. Otherwise, just be investment long. I'm 100% investment long right now. Most of it's in Ethereum and it's looking great. Let's have a look in the comments. Please don't post multiple times. Bitcoin Delta is coming. Once will do. Yes, we're waiting for that. Yorkie's World, he's been great at times, but last couple of months getting it all wrong. That's probably me he's talking about. I don't know. So here's the thing about being wrong and being right. People are wrong and right at times. If you are a breakout trader that trades fast-moving breakouts, you are often right in moves. If you're a continuation trader and you're getting the trend, you will be consistently right 4 times in a row. I showed you FBTC things. When you get into consolidations that are hammering out and shaking out volatility, where you're getting minor moves in either direction, we are going to not be near as good, because it's not our conditions. It's kind of like expecting a tractor to beat a Lamborghini on a drag strip. But take that Lamborghini into the muddy field and see how it goes. So that is the tool, that is the equipment, and that is the times. And the times here were consolidation, pullback, counter trend movement. We are on the inflation trade. We are on fiat failure trade. Macro, that is going to be right. Put every chart up. Ethereum, Bitcoin, including gold, silver, the NASDAQ, and have a look at what fiat proliferation has done. Go divide it by the M2, and even still, those things go up. This is the big long, and this is your chance to make your beans. If you oversize, you get shaken out. If you over leverage, you get shaken out. That will be the case. But despite oil selling off by $10, in the long run, it's going to go up. Despite silver and gold looking weak and precarious and having sold off, in time, they will go back up. The equities in there that have been lagging, they will also. You need time. You need the fiat proliferators to continue to fiat proliferate. And crypto is one of the best. So, consolidation and counter trend, not a time to be active trading. We haven't been streaming every day, have we? We haven't been talking to you that often. It's a case of stand down, do very little, stay in your investment. That is why we are for a particular season, a harvesting season. And the harvesting season will come again, but you've just gone through a plowing summer of sweat on your brow. Lots of hard work with very little gain. The best thing is do very little, do no harm. That's the case it was. I finally got comfortable enough to buy red, says B. You're making progress. Trade to the level, key levels of significance. Yep, Hex has been counter trend, says a Hexican. It has, whilst the pulse is out there, but when there's twice as many out there and Ethereum starts to move, it might start to underperform again, but not terribly. It's still survived and done well, but it's been absolutely great during the bearish consolidatory period. but there are also tokens for the season that come, and Ethereum goes back to bull. It's going to be interesting. Stable coins coming under threat, says Steve O'Brien. I think that's what he's saying. Yes, the central bankers don't want you to have fiat. There was BlockFi recently getting sued by New Jersey. Cease and desist. You're not allowed to pay interest. They want you in fiat, paying you 0.1% and killing the fiat. They don't want you to escape. They don't want you in crypto that goes up and gets a different level of return. That's cheating. You're escaping the abattoir. They don't like that. The goats must be sheared and decapitated and eaten and turned into cheap mutton for other peasants. They don't want you to escape. They don't want you to escape. They hate the idea that as tertiary extractors, they're the only ones that get to pay interest, and they can pay you an absolute worthless stipend on a depreciating currency that had 25% more currency printed in a single year of all dollars in existence. They want to keep you like a monkey on a greased pole, where if you're not running for all hell, you are dropping all the way down into the crocodile waters where you will be consumed. They are not your friends. And crypto is one of our solutions. Yep, Joshua says when you account for M2, it's M1 that I think you're talking about. Our friend Benjamin Cohen was doing a chart. M1, it hasn't made a new high. On M2, Bitcoin has made a new high. M1 has more liquidity in it. On the official M2, you have made a new high. So I will just prove that to you. That is Binance divided by the Freds. And I think at some point we're going to be ripped off on the correct data. They don't want you to have this data anymore. They don't think it should be released. It's too much truth. Too many smart people working things out in a time of deception. Truth is a revolutionary act, my friends. In a great time of deception. Truth is a revolutionary act. And if you are to espouse truth, you are a revolutionary. You must be captured, tamed, brainwashed, and thrown into the gulag system, the re-education camp. That is what's required. I'm waiting for this chart to load. We'll see how long TradingView wants to take. In the meantime, let's take a look at some of your comments. By the way, have you hit the like button? Have you given us a share? We appreciate it. Don't forget also that we back all these videos up on our other channel, on Odyssey, all of them, Market Sniper, Crypto Sniper, and you can also get the Reset Sniper, occasional free one. Some of them you pay a couple of library tokens for the reset stuff. We are on there. Yellen wants urgent regulation, says Steve O'Brien. Yes, I saw that. Too much competition for their fake, terrible, devaluing money. Ask questions. Who is this woman? What is her nature? What is her ethnicity? What's she all about? Why is she doing this? Which cabal and whose interests does she represent? Do you really think, as a private institution representing a cartel of banks, she has you as end users' interests, or she has her mate's interests at heart? That is the big question. That is the big question. We're hoping to try load this chart. I don't know quite what's going on here. We're having it. It's gone a bit slow. Let's have a look at something else. We also look at upside down charts, by the way. And I can tell you that this rising wedge that we were kind of waiting for, that we've done some research. So this is an inverted Bitcoin, and I did it against the euro. Amazingly, the euro was a purer structure. So we looked at it and we could see this not quite giving us the third impulse. We didn't want to trust it. We thought if we hung on, we'd be okay. You got a break on a small fractal. You made your target. This is bearish if you're going up. This is an inverted chart. The green candles are actually red ones on the normal and the red are green. Understand what we've done. We have an inverted chart, a big smackdown, and you came out of the rising wedge. There's your basing ascending grind line cutting through there. There is the rising wedge, which is the corollary of the falling wedge that you looked at on Bitcoin. And we have broken out of that. What happens next? You might go a little bit further and then you get a return move. Everyone goes, yeah, you're wrong, you're wrong. We might well be inaccurate. We might well be early. We might be completely inaccurate. And it goes all the way back out and out the top. I don't think so after this move. I'd never fully trusted this as a third, but we had lots of sessions. It was worrying me a degree that we kept bleeding up, and then we had a little bit of fairly high momentum. We've come down harder on that down leg. So the inverted chart is also showing me that we're probably going to fall out of, to the downside, the rising wedge, which, when you turn that outcome upside down, look into my eyes, look at his eyes, look at the hands, watch your fingers, fantasize. Not the men. Stop touching yourself like that. Chubby kid in the second row. Yes, when you look into the inverted, it is in fact the falling wedge that could break up. So that is a good thing, and it's a good symbol, and it's a good possibility. But, whilst we did run that little fractals stop on an HVF that points to an invalidation, the big macro is still here. It will be great when we run that. It will be great. That's 29,000 euros. Remember, this is a euro. So that's plus around 10, 12, 14%. What's the euro dollar at the moment? I'll have to check. It could even be higher. So we'll do that check for you at another point. Okay, let's have a look at comments. Swiss Borg. A man says Swiss Borg. He likes them. CHBSUDT. Please don't give me small tokens that will have no liquidity. Okay, we can't do, the trading view is not playing today. Doesn't like my idea of Bitcoin divided by M2 today. It's normally fine, but it's a little bit grumpy with us today because we're too excited, we're too pumped up, and we're talking too bullish when sentiment is down at the 10 levels. So what other charts did I have for you? FBTC. Did we show you FBTC? I think we did. Did we show you updated since the moves this afternoon? You see that? Now, I've reminded you of this, and I'm going to remind you again. Again, you can see the volatility. I'm going to take that down. It's come right down. Right down to lows. Lots of orange signals that are showing you below the bottoms at the moment. So you can see that. I'm going to make it go away now so that we can have a bit more chart real estate. And I'm going to remind you of this. We reminded you last time. Why we said halftime first oranges? Because whilst Ethereum was giving you a halftime sell signal and saying, we're going to pull back, we've done a lot, we need a rest, we're going to slump back down, it was not the end of the bull market because Ethereum didn't come all the way back down, right the way back down to 2.5, which is where it was when we gave you the first bull signal sometime to the left there. It has just set up a structure like that, a squeezy, Japanesey, lots of bottoming. You got a hammer there, you got spinning tops, it's been slowing down, a nice rejection candle with wick, and you're building on that. Let's show you that a little bit bigger because it might have been a little bit small. Some of you might have been squinting. You might have been squinting, doing the squeezy Japanesey with your eyes. My eyes are mince pies. I use gamer goggles. Go to Gunner. These are Gunner gamer goggles. And you can protect your eyes from excessive blue light if you're doing a lot of screen. Now, it's kind of early and it's a bit excessive to call it a bottom, but I'm saying there's a good chance that's a bottom. And I think we're moving up off that after this sell-off. Down. So if we do this, where does it take you? Over 9%. And actually, if this is the beginning of second half, which is the blow-off spell, the first setups will get you the biggest performance. So overperformance would probably apply. You could go 10, you could go 15. You could go more against BTC. Who knows? You might just do the 9. Who knows? We'll see. I feel Ethereum has got more to give us. And that is a key one. We also spoke about a couple of other things. We mentioned Sol and we mentioned Uni, I think, and we mentioned one or two others. Some of you will remind us. You see, we had a working low. It came a little lower, but it hasn't run that low. Another structure that's still in existence. We'll do UDA for the UDA fans. So we were guesstimating what would happen. Quite a fat funnel in the end. RH3, RL3. You've started a process of recovery. Could it fail? Yes, it could. Everything I say could still fail. We could have a sell-off one more time. And I've told you the levels on Bitcoin that can't be run, for which it represents a problem again. And the risk of a final Elliott wave, fifth wave down there could still occur. So there's no such thing as certainty. There's no such thing as certainty. And you could see when we were bouncing here that it was a fake dawn for Sol, and you had another continuation pattern and you still went a bit lower. But it has stayed above that level, which has stayed above that level, and that is a potential structure. So Solana will still potentially be an overperformer relative to Bitcoin in time. There was, who else did we talk about? There was a lot of muttering about secrecy wallets by the ECB. Not specifically the token. They were quite specific about secrecy wallets on crypto. You see, the control structure is coming and embedding themselves in that. They do not want you to have privacy. This is open source banking. In the cloud, they get to see who and where you send money to as their serf. You have an internationalist global cartel. They will be able to search exactly how much is in your wallets, who you sent to, and when you did it. It's all open space. Liberty in terms of crypto is not coming. Privacy is not coming. They don't want you to have it. They don't want you to have it. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try and make their life difficult. Go and get a Brax phone. Go to brax.me. I like him. Honest guy. I'll be getting some from him. Go and get a secrecy wallet, because they said don't have one. Go and get yourself some Monero when you've made some beans on the next bull market. Go and do all the things they say you shouldn't do, because they're not your boss, they're not your masters, they weren't born above you. Protect, protect, protect. What about Uni? We did mention Uni. Why did we mention Uni? Because in its sell-off, the first was the worst, and the second leg, which was the Bitcoin crash from the right shoulder to the 30K target, actually they failed to make a new low. Uni held the line like that. And we would have thought it would have continued to hold the line. It actually traded a bit lower in this last spell here. It still hasn't run that low. It came just in time. So it's pretty flat bottomed, this. It's pretty flat bottomed. But it is bouncing now. Will it hold? Will it give you a nice high 3 and then a moderate, not so deep bottom and squeeze for the upside? Or if it comes back flat again, we got to worry about its relative performance. It could even underperform. This is Uni dollar, not Uni BTC. How did it look against BTC? Also just surviving the low. You see? 475, and this low was 469. So it just survived. It just failed to make a new low. Some of these dipped a little deep on this last leg. Little deep, but they haven't invalidated. A little deep. Who else did we speak about? $1.17. Also in a falling wedge. Let's go regular. Let's go log. Let's fix that. Bit tight time frame. We go for 8 hour. So many falling wedges out there. Also rejecting. Also rejecting. Some will say, but that's a descending triangle. Well, actually the bodies are here, over there, then here, and then here. So whilst that is probably the lowest, these are all very similar. And you want to draw a descending triangle. For me, there was a deeper dip at a candle level on these later sides with lower volatility. These were snapback events. Snapback. Massive snapback. You are getting a snapback here too, but it was off lower volatility. A very slow depreciating sell-off from the 149s into the lows around $1. Where would be the logical key level of significance to draw for ADA? $1. Yes, sir. $1. For $1 a day, I say. For $1 a day. So let's grab $1. This would be a key level for you. Make him fat. How are you guys doing? Tell us in your comments. Are you surviving? Are you part of the in fear, extreme fear? Or are you surviving? Are you still alive? You're not destroyed. We need you saved. We're here to save. We want you saved. Look at that. That is your ledge of a key level. 1. You jumped up on it and you've been supporting on it throughout this bear market despite running 2.5 at one point, nearly. You're about 2.4 there. $1, $1, $1. Give me $1. Me love you long time. $1. Yep, we are dominating. I bought Sol and got wrecked. Did you buy it against BTC? And you shouldn't get wrecked. You should do money management. No one should be getting wrecked. Wrecked means you had 10, 15, 20, 30%, 40%, 50%, 60% plus damage done to your account. You should not be getting wrecked. You should be doing almost everything without leverage at the moment. Almost everything. Yep, so I want to discuss that. Richard Hart, many others calling for 10K on a basis of, I call this the Peter Brunt theory, because he has a theory if you have a parabola, which means an exponential chart going, concave up, that it's a golden rule that you automatically will always do 85% return move. I'm afraid sometimes it doesn't turn out like that. The fact that it can, when you have blow-offs, is possible indeed. It's not a golden rule. There is no rule. Moses didn't come from the top of the mountain and said, hey, every time this happens, that has to be the reaction. Unfortunately, it just doesn't always happen like that. That doesn't mean it can't happen and won't happen on Bitcoin. It just doesn't mean it's a 100% case study. I get this with gaps. Every gap will close. No, sometimes they don't. It's obvious with an equity where there's a lot of trading up and down. People don't put a time limit on it, and something could close 6 months later and they say, you see, I told you so. It's completely irrelevant. How would you have traded that? You're going to sit for 6 months and ride a bull market because you're short waiting for a gap to close? You're murdered. I'm talking about tradable information that is useful. Tradable information that is useful. Every gap will close. It's kind of like saying, okay, so you're trying to take the other side of that trade. I have to say, if the gap was between $10 and $10.05, that market will never, ever again trade between $10 and $10.05. It's a safe bet that I'll be wrong on that cases. But a gap closure means within inside a certain amount of time, a certain event will occur that you could set a stop trade to put an offer and get a decent risk reward trade. So, just like that gap theory, it's not 100%, I'm afraid. And it's also not necessarily tradable, even if it does happen. And in the same way, I will say to you, parabolas do not retrace 85% as a golden rule. Just because Bitcoin went down 85%, it's become particularly popular as a claim. And I would argue we haven't had the volatility blow-off. Let's go back to Bitcoin that you had in 2017-18. So if we include 2017 and 18, we go log scale. We go 2 days to get all that history in. That doesn't mean Richard isn't a smart guy that says a lot of smart things. I'm not picking a fight. It's not a personal event. It's a disagreement on principle. There is no law or rule that dictates something has to do something. Otherwise, you would have a 100% trading system every time. You could literally set and forget doing it. So, Where would you put your, let's take the Fibos. By the way, it's quite typical for us to have half-time oranges in bull markets. You didn't when you had that small mini bull and that pullback period in the previous bull market, then retrace 85%. It didn't happen at the half-time oranges break, the pullback in previous bulls. I will show you. I will go and find a chart. Binance is no good. It's got no history. But if you were to have an 85% retrace, you would have to come down somewhere here. 10%. It's going to be half of 23. So 11.5 would be around here. It would have to be about 85 grand. I mean, 12.5% is 1/8, basically. 1/8. If you take 64 and divide it by 8, you're at 8 grand. So let's find you another Bitcoin chart and let's show you previous half-time events. You see that? Do you see that? This is Bitstamp. Here's a bull market. There's a pullback. Is that 85% from your low? That's your oranges. You still went and did that. Is it 85%? Where was Moses and the golden tablets? Why did it not comply? You see that? Maybe you think that's not half-time. How about that? Maybe you think that's not half-time. How about that? Did it pull back 85%? No, no, no. 3 no's. How about that? 4 no's. 4 no's. 4 times you would have shorted for an 85% decimation. 4 times you got wrecked to the upside halfway through a bull market. Does the point register? I hope so, he says adamantly, with much belligerence and frowning. He has been provoked. No, he hasn't. He's just having fun. He's a naughty boy. He's a very naughty boy. But he likes to have fun. What else do you say? What other nonsense can I lay to rest? It's a log chart. So what? It's still not 85%. It's still not 85%. He says it's a log chart. I'm cheating. Okay, let's delog it. It's a lot harder to do. Is that 85%? 5 grand to 3 grand. It's 2 grand. It's 40%. I just have to show you one to prove it's not true. I can show you many more. If someone says there's no such thing as a black sheep, if I bring one black sheep, I've already proven that incorrect. I can do it many times. I can bring many sheep that are black. And then somebody can say, the hypothesis that all sheep are therefore white is therefore wrong. I only need to produce one black sheep. And there are many more here for you. So no, it's not an 85%. Was this an 85%? If this was the end of the bull run, was that an 85%? No, no, no. Sorry, it's no defending this. There's no defending that. Because it could doesn't mean it always should. Tony Vase also believes in the low now. I don't know when he... that's Saint Gaulis, my good friend Saint Gaulis. Regular in the chats. Always. Thanks for the updates. I don't know who and what everything. It's too much content for me to watch. I can't keep up with what other people are saying. I look at the markets and I make my own mind up. And those that see the same as me will see the same. And those that don't won't. And that doesn't mean they're bad, and that doesn't mean they're wrong and I'm right. It can often be the other way around. That is kind of how it goes. So it's interesting. He's flipped. Has he flipped? He was previously short. I don't know. Was he previously short? What was his opinion? Yes, he also did say that, didn't he, Horim? That was enough for me. Had XRP 85% or Doggy, they would deserve it. Did Doggy do 85%? I think Doggy. We owe to have a look at Doggy. How's muskiness? Elongated muskiness's pet project. It's feeling the lack of love on his behalf. I wonder how the talks with their developers is going. There's one man and its dog in a cottage somewhere that had a chat with muskiness. Is he the next billionaire to go into space? It's such a green pursuit to burn, I don't know, maybe a few thousand Olympic swimming pools of petrol and rocket fuel so that you can go for a slightly high altitude flight and then lecture everybody else about how they should stop eating meat. It's nice when you're part of the control structure, billionaire class. Something else people should be watching also is the dollar. Remember, everything that we measure in crypto has a second half. It's the dollar. The dollar is creeping up and losing a little bit of momentum. This was churny. That was strong. This has been a bit churny. I think it was going to run into a tad of trouble. It resisted there last time. I think it can only afford to walk out slowly because the likes of the Turkish lira, the South African rand, the Brazilian real, the Indian rupee, etc., the Malaysian ringgit can all run into huge trouble with their dollar debt. The dollar can't go up too fast. They can't do a real taper. They can't really raise rates. There is no real getting out of this Ponzi. You can't taper a Ponzi. They will keep doing what they've always done, threatening to do certain things that they will never do and being forced to do things that they have to do because they have been set on a certain path. If you're on the railway tracks, you can't just shimmy on to the right across the desert. You're stuck on those railway tracks. They put themselves on that course. Greenspan did it a long time ago. Everyone who followed him didn't have too many other options. Liquidity is the game. I was talking about Euro USD currently at 118, so 18% onto that Euro premium. What else have I got for you? Well, I wanted to cover the main two. I didn't want to do too much else. I wanted to give you some confidence in difficult times so that you could keep your chin up. Doggy, we were looking for Doggy. Here she blows. Elon, your puppy needs some puppy loving, my friend. This, I have to go log scale here because this has been pretty hectic. That said, from November, it's still immensely up. You could have had it for 0.2 of a cent in November, so it's still immensely up, it has to be said. But that's been quite some fall because it's gone down from 73 to here. Let's go back to the regular. It's quite some fall. Let's have a look at it on a smaller time frame. Let's do the daily. Again, most of these are now in falling wedge pops. I still think that this will go up again in a bull market. And no doubt, when it's about to go up, naturally and technically, he'll just tweet just in time so that everybody says, Elon did it. It was Elon that did it. The elongated muskiness making good. But nowhere to be seen in bear markets. Or counter trend markets at least. That's how he is. He's your fair weather friend. He's your fair weather friend. He's not your friend. He's a rascal. He wants to put a chip in your brain, mate. Dixie backtesting says breakout. Let's see if it holds 2.75, 92.75, I think he means. Yeah, it's come a long way, says Mr. G. Wills on Doggy. It has. It's quite some take back though. If you want to do your fib on that about 85%, you may well have a chance that that's happened. It wouldn't surprise me on that one. So the smaller and the more flighty the token, the far larger the boom and bust cycles. So 17. It looks like about 17% it has from its high. So it would have given you back about 85%, I would say. On this one, you would have probably made it. And you would have come back to your key level of significance, which was your target on an upside. So I think that's pretty accurate here. If that's 23 and that's your low around there, I think you're going to be at around 15, maybe a bit more, but you would have got close. I would give it a tick. And you'll go further on the more flighty tokens. So CHRUSD, Lion Zeus wants CHR. He's been tweeting about it. He's been telling me about it. He desperately wants me to show it. So let's not keep the man holding. It's just mean. Can't serve everybody like that, but let's have a go. CHR. Drop, drop, drop. Grab a beer from under the table. Come up with some CHR. I have no idea what token this is. It's not an HVF, unless you're talking about against BTC, but it is a nice rounded bottom. That's concavity. That's getting rounded. Of course, it was coming down, 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 down. That was dangerous. That grind line, you squeezed, you broke down. Really low vol is bullish and rounded bottom. So there's a lot of recovery around crypto. Not just in the major ones. Yeah, some guys failing again at calling bottoms. Well, we're early and we could be wrong. And if you're too early, it's effectively wrong. So, you know, we're taking a chance, but we don't want to be late. Elongated muskrat. Yes, I like that. 4-hour time frame. He says he wants me to have a look at this little structure here instead of the big time frames. If you don't say, I won't know. But I can see it. So I could see that what he was talking about. Needs actually a little bit of a down leg. Slightly disproportionate there compared to a far bigger one. A little bit disproportionate, but okay. But this is a big 3. You might get your head and shoulder here. That'll bring you for your down leg, maybe. It might not have a down leg. It just could trade out. Apple did that recently to us. We've got lots of equities that we've been trading during the dull period. The guys have done a great job on the setups. Our community members, well done to our community members. Great setups. Really impressed with the quality of charting and the guys learning and sharpening their skills. It's a course, guys. You don't get good at things. You don't make insane money without getting a specialist skill. If you do get insane money without a specialist skill, you quickly give it back to the market or wherever else. Whatever else you've found. You have to develop a high level of skill set in something. Everybody thinks this is the hardest easy money you guys are ever going to make. Let me just say that about trading. I think it was Dale Pinkett who was telling me about it, that the old boys. Welcome to the toughest easy money you're ever going to make. If you're on about trying to develop certain skills and grow and enjoy and get better at charting and something that seems, I don't need that, I just want the money. I'm afraid we all come into this game chasing the money. We all want status. We all want to look smart. I started super young. I just wanted to be a flash hero and attract attention. We all do it. We all do it. We all do it. It's okay. It's what you learn once you get there that takes you on your journey. And if you don't progress. Simple as that. You go backwards, up and down, and you'll blame everybody else. Three to 5% of community TMP members will come on and end up hating me. They'll find a reason why I said something that led to them losing money. And it will be my fault. If you aren't owning your own outcomes, I am going to stand up here. I'm like an indicator myself. I'm going to be wrong, going to be right. I'm going to be early. I'm going to be late. I'm going to be everything a human can be who's trying to guess the future on a probability-based basis. The lowest in emotional quotient, the people that have the least externalized locus of control, stuff happens to them. They don't own outcomes. Almost certainly, those folk will have a small percentage that'll say, damn, this guy cost me all my money. I warn you. At the same time, I say, book a call and join the community. It's the best journey you'll ever go on. Even if you're one of that 3 or 5%, you need that experience and you need that learning. Because at some point, it'll happen again, and you're not in my community, you need someone else to blame. So that's why people go from guru following to guru. I'm not a guru. I'm a method purveyor, educator who happens to trade by that method too. And is happy to provide those details and mention to you that trading is of itself a great self-development program. You're going to have bad days, you're going to have good days. You can maximize the good days if you're prepared to learn, grow, and accelerate that process and to own your own outcomes, whatever you do. I will never be putting a trade on for you. I will be telling you about what I like and what I don't like, and I'll be winning and I'll be losing, and I'll be managing my own money and making sure I don't take outsized losses. You will be responsible for your own outcome. You could get the most perfect system and give it to 10 traders, and you will get 10 different outcomes, people. And one of them will lose money and say it was a shit system and you screwed me. Who got a fright when I said that? Had some of the guys in the community, sometimes when I talk, getting animated and I clap my hands, they're watching while with their cat on their lap and the cat jumps to the ceiling. Or the wife goes, Jesus, what was that? I've got some guys in my community, the wives know me better than they know their own husbands because they're listening to me all the time. That's crazy, man. But it's fun and it's a great journey. If you want to be part of our community, book a call. We have a few spaces, not too many. We have a few spaces available for calls and also for potentially new Trading Metamorphosis program members. We are upgrading all the time our platform. We invest in it. The setups are going to get more detailed. It's going to do more of the calculations. You'll learn about time stops, how to draw over performance bands, lots of advanced stuff that doesn't get covered here on the YouTube channel. Many people are thinking, I've reverse engineered everything you do. I know how to do it. I don't need to come on your course. Of course you do. You think you're smart. Let me tell you, some people pay to stop smoking. You don't need to pay to stop smoking, but sometimes it's a point where you say, I'm going to commit and I'm going to do this to a certain level and degree. And you go to smoke enders and they tell you how to do something else with your hands and a couple of techniques, but it's because you've reached that point that you truly want to not go through a process anymore. You want to cease to be a smoker. You were born a non-smoker and you have to be reminded of all of that. It's that when you're ready to pay, it's when you're ready also to grow. But you've got to pay, you've got to make a commitment in your own mind and your own heart. You've got to start measuring things, including your biology, including everything that could affect you. Because by becoming a better trader, you become a better person. Emotionally, you become a better person. You become more patient. You do less trading. You become more selective. You become a sniper. Instead of running around the battlefield, spraying your Uzi and eventually getting taken out, you end up becoming an observer, a chartist, a drawer, a thinker, an analyzer, and then an occasional firer. But you go from firing 250,000 rounds like the average infantry in World War II, 400,000 rounds like the average infantryman with automatic weapons in Vietnam, to suddenly become a guy who rarely fires but gets a casualty 1.3 times. 1.3 bullets for one casualty. Or you can be that guy that keeps running around the jungle with an automatic weapon, pumping lead into trees and scaring the monkeys and doing no real harm to your enemy. Now, we're not here to kill people. We just want to be efficient. Less is more. Accuracy, real breathing, real patience, real techniques. A sniper is a special force guy. He has a small team which has a spotter usually with him, and he's incredibly capable at what he does. And he's doing a high risk, high reward journey. He doesn't shoot an infantryman. He shoots captains, majors, and generals. That's what he does. And when he goes, he changes the course of the war. When he wins, he holds up entire battalions, 2 of them. That is what you want to become in a trading context. Ruthlessly efficient, not actively always in the market. This has not been a trading market for Bitcoin. It has not been a trading market for Bitcoin. The minute we get 2 or 3 in a row wrong, we recognize that, we back off. We're not got our views right. The wind's too strong. The distance is too far. We're giving our position away. You back the hell off. You stay out. You go rest. You go ride your bicycle. Go watch my recent set sniper video. Health, biology. You are under PSYOP attack. Be strong. Be healthy. That's my advice to you all. Thank you so much for coming on and watching. We told you about Bitcoin. We said the cavalry might be arriving. You traded 29, and since that moment, you have come back up to 32,000, which has taken back this final spill. And once again, it has tested the 30K level. And this might be getting close to the point where you will have a little bit of a cooling and a breakout out of a falling wedge structure. This will catch most retail by surprise. My prediction for you, most retail will be caught by surprise. Suddenly the sentiment indicator will go from extreme fear to just fear, and next thing you know, a couple of thousand later, it will be out of fear, and then it'll be at extreme greed, some 10,000 higher up. You can decide at what point you want to re-engage. And I would say to you, start getting ready. Start getting ready. But be careful. Don't use your leverage yet. If you aren't already collateral long, maybe now's the time. Non-advice. I'm just telling you where we're at. Okay, final questions. I was going to give up meth, says somebody. But then I'd be seen as a quitter. Oh, he's funny. By the way, on principles, we do not, I want to make a comment. Recently saw something, Richard Hart tweeted something about another YouTuber. We do not take money to shill tokens. We do not ask people to attend and demand money off them for a YouTube channel. We do nothing of that nature. And we do not get paid for attending or demand payment for attending anything in terms of that. We are not representing any token special interest. Broadly, if it's technically good, it's technically interesting to me, otherwise not. Look at that spike on FBTC. Wow, wasn't that interesting? A little bit of FOMO. So like principles, I would say, a lady WhatsApped me and said, you could at least offer to take me to dinner. And I said, well, I don't take married a woman to dinner. She said, but I'm your wife. And I said, well, principles are principles, aren't they? That's how we are. Excellent. Have a great time. We'll catch you all later. Thanks for watching. Salute. Give us a share. It's our currency. We appreciate it. See you later.